If you love history, we have a great story for you. Today we're coming to you from the Mille Lacs County Historical Society in the Amdahl Room, where we're talking about O.J. Odegard and his super cool contributions to Princeton. You won't want to miss it. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Princeton Podcast, where we talk about upcoming events, news, and local businesses. This is Princeton. Play here, stay here.
Before we get started today, just a reminder to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We're also recording on YouTube, so be sure to subscribe at This is Princeton MN.
What's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in. This is the Princeton Podcast, and today's podcast is brought to you by the Princeton Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism. Today we have a super special guest. We have some cool history we want to talk about, but I'm going to let Mary lead us in here and introduce our guest.
Hey everybody, I'm Mary here with my sister Kim and Zach, and we have Barry from the Mille Lacs County Historical Society with us today to learn about some stories of the Odegard family.
I've got a secret that I'm willing to share, and the secret is on the wall behind me, behind the brown wooden doors. Nobody knows. That was hidden for over a century until some remodeling was done here in the Amdahl Room of the Princeton Great Northern Railway Depot. Stick around and I'll tell you all about it. Hint, hint, it involves O.J. Odegard, who was a notable Princetonian in the past century.
That's awesome. I'm so excited because last time we had you on the podcast, we got to talk a little bit about it, and we went over some photos and we touched on it, but I feel like this is going to be like our chance to go in depth and get out all the details and all the photos, and I'm just excited, and I know Kim's excited. She's been talking about it all week.
I also want to mention that we're coming to you today from the Amdahl Room at the Mille Lacs County Historical Society. If you notice, we have a different background behind us and some great artifacts over there by Barry, so we're excited to get into it.
Yeah.
For anyone quick that's listening on Spotify, this is why you need to listen and tune in on YouTube as well, because the visuals, we'll have photos and a bunch of cool history shown visually.
Yeah.
So, I mean, more than welcome to tune in audio in your car if you're driving, but yeah, I do recommend checking out the YouTube channel as well. So, yeah. What do you got over here?
Let's get
Ready to go?
started.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, okay, here's the story, and it is true. A guy named Odin, O-D-I-N, Odegard, was born in San Diego, or as local folks call it, San Diego, which sounds like a beachy Southern California town, which Santiago really is not yet. Stay tuned. Climate change will wreak some amazing differences. O.J. had several siblings. He was a very entrepreneurial guy. And I'd like to show you one of our favorite photos of the Princeton Depot. And this shows a train arriving at the Princeton Depot. It's an undated photo. My guess is, based on other contextual cues, you see there was a 50,000-gallon water tower at the south end of the depot, just outside the doors here, and there was a windmill which pumped water into the 50,000-gallon water tower. That was needed for trains. Steam trains needed water to make steam eventually. And we see the steam train is just pulling into the depot. And there's a crowd of people waiting either for people to get off or for them to get on. My guess is this is around the turn of the century, probably around 1900. And you see the Princeton Depot sign. And also, there are two wagons that are backed up, two horse-drawn carriages that are backed up to the depot. And one of them, if you look real closely, and I have, has the word commercial hotel as the banner on this particular carriage. And those carriages play an important part in this story, as you will soon see. Because O.J. Odegard, born in 1896, was 18 years old in 1914 when the mysterious writing on the wall behind me was made. And O.J. had several pickup jobs. He was had a lot of side hustles, if you will. And one of his side hustles was driving the horse-drawn carriage from the Princeton Depot downtown to the hotels. So people came on the train. This was like the super shuttle of the day. It took people from the mass transit hub, here the depot, to their ultimate destination, downtown hotel. And people traveled with luggage back in the day, suitcases, steamer trunk, whatever.
It's like
So
today's Uber.
exactly.
Yeah.
So the story is told that one afternoon, the story was told by O.J. himself. One afternoon, he was driving the horse-drawn carriage. Picture, clip, clop, is one passenger was on board on this particular day. And O.J., to make conversation, said, may I ask you what your business is in town? And he said, I'm looking for someone to represent our product in Princeton. Clip, clop. O.J. said, and may I ask, what might your product be? And the man said, it's the Ford automobile. Automobile. Tell me more about that. O.J. spoke with this man who turned out to be the regional sales representative for Ford Motor Company for 2 hours. And after 2 hours, the sales rep thought, this guy can do this. He's good. He's 18 years old, but he's got the gift of gab. He's got a context of entrepreneurial verve. This guy is going places. The problem was that O.J. was only 18 years old, and he could not sign a legally binding contract. And in typical O.J. fashion, he said, no problem. I've got a brother who's 21 or 22, and we'll join together and form a company we'll call O.J. Odegard or Odegard Brothers Ford Agency. And that seemed to solve the problem. And that Ford venture occupied much of a block of downtown for decades. It was the Ford dealer in town. O.J. also had a lot of other ventures. And before we get to reveal the surprise, let me give you an idea of what some of his other ventures are. I have in my hand here a bus driver's cap, which says Odegard's apostrophe S, because O.J. had a school bus company, and the drivers back in the day wore this very sartorially splendid cap. O.J. was partners in a number of other business ventures as well. Perhaps the most widely known was his involvement with the potato business in town. He was, I think, fairly and honestly the baron of potatoes in Minnesota and in beyond for a while. Princeton was described as the potato capital, the potato hub of America. Today, when you hear the word potato, the word that is most often paired with it is
Russet in Idaho. I mean, yeah, the Idaho
either
potato.
one of those. Yeah, Idaho. But in the 1920s, if you said potato, people would have said, oh, it would have been Cherokee and Princeton.
Really?
Cherokee was a breed of potato that grew very well. And here's a photo of O.J. standing inside a boxcar, a railroad boxcar, right here at the depot, as it is being loaded with gunny sacks of potatoes. Each one of those sacks contains 100 pounds of potatoes. And you can see these are stacked 5 high. Wow. There's a little, near the ceiling, in the background, you can see there's a metal grid. And that's where ice was dumped in from the roof. There was doors on the roof where blocks of ice that had been sawed off of lakes and rivers during the winter months and stored in ice houses, such as there once was. There were more than one ice house in Princeton. One was where the public library is today. Yeah. So that's the ice bunker behind OJ.
Barry, was that located at Public Utilities where that is now in the basement? Didn't they have a potato storage down there?
There is a remaining warehouse across the street that was an Odegard warehouse. It later was owned and operated by the Princeton Mill,
Okay.
and today is part of the Princeton Public Utilities property
Yeah.
and operation.
Pretty neat to see.
Yeah. So that was the. We're very pleased to have OJ's desk brass nameplate also that was donated by the family as part of the legacy of OJ for this town. So OJ was a man of many skills, a lot of energy, a lot of cigars. People remember him chomping on a cigar whenever he was seen. He was also described as a how can we put this genteelly, an aggressive driver of automobiles. Dan Howard recalled to me, I'll name names, as a young driver, he was with his dad on a country road. Dan was driving, 15 or something like that. Dad was sitting in the front seat. And Dan is driving super cautiously and nervously. And all of a sudden, his dad screams, "Pull over! Pull over!" And Dan said, "What's the matter? What did I do wrong?" And Dad said, "Nothing. I see OJ's coming down this 2-lane road." And he was a bit of a hellion on wheels, according to many people who lived here at the time. So that was OJ, a remarkable Princetonian, without a doubt, one of the pillars of Princeton. And in a minute, I will be glad to show you what we discovered while we were doing a renovation of this room. And you may remember before 2015, old timers, before 2015, the entrance to the meeting room in which we are seated at the moment looked like this. It was a Menard store set in the middle of an 8-foot wide space in the brick, which was a freight house door. When it was built, there was a transom window above. Transom window had been blocked out, and this was the way it was used by the city and in many incarnations over time. This is what that space looked like as we were doing the remodeling. And you may be able to see, we've stripped off the drywall on the inside. We're just getting a peek of light through the transom area. And off to the right, you can just see there's some writing on the wall. This is a brick wall. And we're very interested, several people were very interested in what that writing was about. It was cryptic and it was suggestive, but we couldn't make out what it was. We intended to strip the drywall off just to a couple feet to the right of the doorway. But this long hidden message had to be revealed. Here's the door being taken out and its frame, which was kind of a glorious day after having not much light coming in through the south entry. All of a sudden, we have a panorama, and it was a beautiful spring day when this happened. So,
and we can put those, for those of you watching, we will post those pictures in the comments so that we're able to do that, right?
I'm thinking of just taking some photos and putting them overlaid on the video.
Okay, yeah, they're really cool.
So if you see them, disregard. If you don't, disregard. I'm going to go check if my car's still outside the door because I had parked in the handicap and I want to make sure it's still there.
In today's trash day.
Yeah, I think that was some trash day.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The beep.
Yeah.
Way to go, Zach.
If you're a Princeton business that wants to increase their social engagement, influence purchase decisions, and build a stronger brand presence in Princeton, we want to work with you. We are offering 10 to 15 dedicated reels for your business and or a whiteboard animation, a featured spot on the Princeton podcast, your logo featured on our website, social collaborations on our social channels with over 6,000 followers, an email blast to over 400 active chamber members. Last but not least, we are guaranteeing over 15,000 views for your business and your brand and your product. And due to this claim, we're only offering this for 3 businesses. So if this is something that you want to do, please contact Kim at the Chamber to learn more information. Hope to work with you soon.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. As Barry mentioned at the beginning, he has a secret to reveal to all of you. Barry?
Well, this is kind of fun. And while we were doing the remodeling, we cut back the drywall about this far. And you can see the wall originally was covered with a kind of concrete wash, but there was graffiti on the wall right here that had been behind drywall for nearly a century. And we noted the date on this graffiti was 11/14, and that would have been November of 1914, not 2014, because in 2014, this wall was covered by drywall. And we did not intend to take all of the drywall off of the wall from here to the corner. But people said, this is a man, obviously. There's something going on here. Is he traveling with a woman or another companion? And we looked at each other and said, okay, the drywall's coming off to the corner. So we took it off, and here's what we found. We found what we believe is a very important moment in the history of Princeton that somebody had doodled on the wall. You can see clearly now, this is Odegard Brothers, and this was the year in which the 18-year-old O.J. Odegard struck a deal with one of his brothers to form the Odegard Brothers Motor Company. And we believe this graffiti represents that moment and that event in Princeton history. We could have sandblasted it off, but it was just too cute and too historic to erase. So we've saved it, put it behind glass, put it behind these doors, and that's our double top secret view of graffiti that tells a great history story for the city of Princeton.
Is there any other Odegard family like in the area? Still?
We have contact with 2 of the Odegards, particularly Susan Odegard Wood out in Pennsylvania, and Kevin Odegard, who, by the way, played guitar on Bob Dylan's album that was recorded in Minneapolis, Highway 61 Revisited. Kevin's,
Wow.
Yeah, a story that ought to be more widely known.
Right.
Kevin's donated one of his guitars, I understand, to the Bob Dylan Museum down in Wichita, I think it is, yeah. But we have contact with Odegard family members, and very soon in the next quarter, meaning the next 3 months, we're opening a special exhibit inside the depot, which is titled Potatoes, Peat, and Prisoners of War. And we have a lot of information, artifacts, and fun revelations. Again, if you enjoy surprises like this, there are a lot more surprises in the correspondence of the Italian prisoners of war who were here for just 8 weeks in 1943, but made such an impression on the city of Princeton. People still remember the Italian prisoners of war. Everyone I've spoken with about this remembers them singing Italian songs while they were working. These men looked different. We don't have many Italians around here. There's some down in St. Paul, but the Italians didn't make it this far, I guess. But these Italian guys come in the 1940s, and they look like movie stars. So they've got the oil bag hair, wife beater T-shirts. They're singing Italian songs, chucking these 100-pound bags of potatoes around, and the teenage girls in town were going, "Oh, what did I just witness?" And they were told by the parents, "You stay away from those guys."
I'm sure.
Yeah, you stay away. But there are more stories about the Italian prisoners of war, all very interesting and all very complimentary, and many of them involving O.J. Odegard. During the time of war in 1943, when things were not going very well for our side, O.J. treated the Italian prisoners who worked here to bring in the potato harvest very respectfully. Much better treatment than many of our captives got from the other side. And I respect them for that.
Yeah.
The night before they left to go back to their prisoner of war camp down in Missouri, they baked him a cake.
Nice.
There's a picture of that cake, and it was a sign of mutual respect that, we're on different teams right now, but we're all human beings.
Yep.
So come see the Potatoes Pete Prisoners of War. There's a lot more detail, a lot of it just delicious as the cake that OJ ate, and fun also.
Well, and also you can go back and listen to our podcast. When Barry was last on, we talked a little bit about the prisoners of war that came and helped in the potato fields. So that's another thing to
We have
go back
pictures.
and listen to.
We have pictures. We have the names
Yeah.
of most of these people. So it's quite fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I think
really
we
neat.
even added the audio clip too from
Yes,
an
an interview that you had done.
interview. Yeah, with one of the
Yep.
gals.
Yep.
Yeah, so go check out that podcast, and thank you again, Barry. Like, this is amazing. I love hearing this, and the way you just tell the story is always entertaining and very informational. So I appreciate it. I'm sure the viewers appreciate it as well. And if you guys enjoy this and want to learn more and see more history from Princeton, like you said, when do you think was a good time? Do you think that would be open?
January.
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 Perfect. Just
Yeah.
in time.
During the doldrums of winter.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we
Yeah.
cannot wait to have you back on. We just love listening to the history of Princeton, and I think our listeners enjoy it as well.
Absolutely. And thank you for letting us do our podcast from the Amdahl room today. This was great.
Remote location.
Remote on the road. Yes.
You made it
Yeah,
happen.
absolutely.
It looks a little different, but
Yep.
I
yeah.
don't mind it.
No, I don't either. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for Zach, Kim, and Mary, this is Princeton signing off. Stay here, play here.
Thank you.
Podcast produced by Kitzman Creations, music by Charles Moe. Be sure to subscribe to the Princeton Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Also, to view our awkward moments, check us out on our YouTube channel and visit us at www.thisisprincetonmn.co.